Hello and welcome students. We are into the 22nd video lecture of the video lecture series made on the subject of mechanics of solid, whose subject code is ME201, and the topic which we are going to discuss today is the shear force diagram and the bending moment diagram for a simply supported beam having point load and uniformly distributed load acting on it. So today's video lecture is in continuation with the previous video lectures in which I have taught you how to draw the shear force diagram and bending moment diagram for a cantilever beam, and in that too also we have discussed about the different point load or the uniformly distributed load acting on the cantilever. Then after I have discussed with you how to draw the SFD, that means shear force diagram, and BMD, that means bending moment diagram, for a simply supported beam in which only point load is acting. In the second case of the simply supported beam, I have discussed when the uniformly distributed load is acting on a simply supported beam, and now we will combine these two cases of point load as well as UDL load, both acting on the simply supported beam. So I am Shri Krishna Mishra, Assistant Professor in the Department of Mechanical Engineering, Suresh Gyan Vihar University. Stay with me. Let's start the lecture now. First of all, let's explore the objectives of today's lecture. The objectives of today's lectures are: first, we are going to understand how to calculate the shear force and bending moment at any section of a simply supported beam having point load all right, acting on it. Then after, we are also going to calculate shear force and bending moment and also draw their diagrams at any section of the simply supported beam where UDL is acting, uniformly distributed load is acting. So both we are going to understand. Then after, we are going to compare the shear force diagram and bending moment diagram for simply supported beam to find if there is any relation between them. All right, let's move into the discussion now. Before moving into the directly numerical part in which both shear force and bending moment is, before we move into the discussion in which a beam is loaded with a point load as well as a uniformly distributed load, like this in this example, in which you can see, student, that the beam is a simply supported beam which is supported at two ends. All right, and then after, the load which is acting on it is, one is the point load which is acting at this point, and the another is the uniformly distributed load which is acting on a particular portion. So before we have solved this question, in order to quickly revive how we have drawn the shear force diagram and bending moment diagram, let's first of all tell me that. So let's start. Before this, let's have a revision of this. Shear force and bending moment diagrams are powerful graphical methods that every mechanical and civil engineer should know how to use to analyze a beam under loading. In this video, I will explain exactly how to master these diagrams, and we will see how they can be used to understand how a beam is loaded. I want to start by explaining what shear force and bending moment actually are. When a beam is loaded, internal forces develop within it to maintain equilibrium. We have shear forces oriented in the vertical direction, and we also have normal forces which are oriented along the axis of the beam. If the beam is sagging, the top of the beam will get shorter, and so the normal forces in the top of the beam will be compressive. The bottom of the beam will get longer, and so the normal forces in the bottom of the beam will be tensile. Each of the tensile normal forces has a corresponding compressive force which is equal in magnitude but opposite in direction. As such, these forces don't produce a net normal force, but they do produce a moment. This means that we can conveniently represent the internal forces acting on the beam cross section using just two resultants, one shear force which is a resultant of vertical internal forces and one bending moment which is a resultant of normal internal forces. This is a very common way of representing the internal forces within a beam. Drawing the shear force and bending moment diagram is just figuring out what these internal forces are at each location along the beam. These resultant shear forces and bending moment will depend on the load acting on the beam and the way in which the beam is supported. Beam can be loaded in a number of ways, the most common being concentrated forces, distributed forces and concentrated moments. Beams can also be supported in a number of different ways. They can have pinned support, roller support or by fully fixed, which each restrain the beam in different ways. Pinned supports prevent horizontal and vertical displacement but allow rotation. Roller support prevent vertical displacement but allow horizontal displacement and rotation. Fixed support prevent all displacements and rotation. If a certain degree of freedom is restrained at a support, we will have a corresponding reaction force or reaction moment at the location. For example, rotations are permitted for a pinned support and so there is no reaction moment. But displacement is the vertical and horizontal directions are prevented, so we will have horizontal and vertical reaction forces. So how do you determine the shear force and bending moment within a beam? There are three main steps we need to follow. First, we draw a free body diagram of the beam. This shows all the applied and reactions loads acting on the beam. The next step is to calculate the magnitude of reaction force and reaction moment at all the beam supports. We do this using the concept of equilibrium. To maintain equilibrium, all the forces in the vertical and horizontal directions cancel each other out. Similarly, all the moments acting at every point along the beam should cancel each other out. This gives us a set of examples we can solve to calculate the reaction forces and moments. If we can calculate all the reaction loads using the three equilibrium equations, the beam is said to be statistically determinate. For some beam configurations like this, we won't be able to calculate all the reaction loads because we have to many unknowns and also not equilibrium. This beam has 4 reaction forces, but we only have 3 equilibrium equations. To solve this beam, we need to use slightly more complicated methods and consider boundary conditions. In this video, I will only cover statistically determinate cases where we can use the equilibrium to calculate all the reaction loads. Once all reaction loads are calculated, the third and final step is to figure out the internal shear forces and bending moment at every location along the beam. To do this, we will use the concept of equilibrium again. If we cut our beam at any location, the internal forces and moments need to cancel out the external forces and moment so that the equilibrium is maintained. This allows us to easily calculate the shear force and bending moment at each location along the beam. All we need to do is to start from one side of the beam and move the location of the cut along the beam, calculating the shear force and bending moment as we go. Now is a good time to define the sign conventions. Applied forces will be positive if they are acting in the downward direction. Shear force and bending moment, the positive sign convention will be as shown here. If the beam is on the left side of our cut, shear forces pointing downwards will be positive. If the beam is on the right side of our cut, shear force pointing upwards will be positive. Positive bending moments will be those that put the lower section of the beam into tension. Another way to think about it is that bending moment will cause a sagging of the beam are positive and those that cause a hogging of the beam are negative. Let's take a look at an example of a beam with pinned and roller support loaded by two concentrated. First, we draw the free body diagram. We can then use the equilibrium equations to determine the unknown reactions at point A and point B. The sum of the forces in the vertical direction is equal to 0. So RA plus RB is equal to 15 plus 6. But HA is the only horizontal force. It must be equal to 0. We also know that the sum of the moment about any point along our beam must be 0. Let's consider the moment about point P. That gives us this equation which we can solve to determine the RA equal to 12. By substituting this RA, RB is equal to 9. Now that all the external loads acting on the beam are defined, we can draw the shear force and bending moment diagram. We will start from the left hand side of the beam. Let's draw the free body diagram for a location immediately to the right of the 12 kilonewton force. To maintain equilibrium, the shear force must be equal to reaction force. We can draw this on our shear force diagram. The shear force will be constant until we reach the next applied force. The bending moment must be equal to 12 kilonewton reaction force multiplied by the distance into reaction force. This gives us the equation for a straight line which we can draw on our bending moment diagram. We can then repeat the process by moving the location of our cut forces to the right. This time we place the cut immediately after the 12 kilonewton force, and we draw the free body diagram again to determine the shear force and bending moment. We repeat this process until we have covered the full length of the beam. We end up with the complete shear force and bending moment diagram for the beam. You can see that example is a fairly simple example, but sometimes it can be a difficult one for more complex loading. There are relationships between the applied load, shear force and bending moment which will help us better understand what our diagram should look like. See, let's consider a beam loaded by an arbitrary distributed force, UDL. We can zoom it in to look at infinitely small segment of the beam with a width equal to dx and draw FBD. Over such a short section, the distributed force can be assumed to be uniform, and we replace it with an equivalent point load. By applying the equilibrium equations in FBD, it is possible to demonstrate that the following relationships exist between the applied distributed force, shear force graph and the bending moment graph. The quantity dV over dx is the slope of the shear force curve, and at a given point along the beam it is equal to the minus the distributed force. Similarly, dm over dx is the slope of bending moment curve at a given point. It is equal to shear force. If we integrate the first equation, we can show that the change in shear force between the 2 points is equal to the area under the loading diagram between these 2 points. And if we integrate the second equation, we can show that the change in bending moment between 2 points is equal to area under the shear force curve. This is really useful information we can use to help construct or sense. This beam has an applied distributed force and a concentrated force. Let's quickly draw the shear force and bending moment diagram. By using the free body diagram method, we can show that the bending moment curve for the section of the beam under the distributed force is defined by the quadratic equation 4x square minus 4x square plus 34x plus 68. If we differentiate this equation, we get minus 8x plus 34, which based on the dm over dx equation above, we now know is the equation for shear force in this section of the beam. If we differentiate again, we get minus 8, which is the equation for the distributed force. This is a great way to check your shear force and bending moment diagram. Another way of checking your diagram is using the area equation I mentioned you earlier. The area under the shear force curve highlights here is equal to 34 times 2, which is 68. 32 into 2, that is 34 into 2, that is 68. This is equal to the change in bending moment over this section of the beam. We can also calculate the area under the shear force diagram for the beam section under the distributed force. The total area of this section is equal to 72.3 minus 12.3, which is 60. This is equal to the change in bending moment of 60 kilonewton meter over this section of beam. Where concentrated forces are applied, there is a sudden jump in the shear force diagram. And where concentrated moment are applied, there is a sudden jump in the bending moment diagram. These equations will not be applicable across the discontinuities in the diagram. One final observation we can make based on these equations is that when the shear force is equal to 0, bending moment curve will be at a local maximum or minimum. Let's take one last example. Here we have a cantilever with an applied concentrated moment of 120 kilonewton meter and a distributed force of 6 kilonewton per meter. Again we start by drawing free body diagram. Because the support is fully fixed, we have vertical and horizontal reaction forces RA and HA and a reaction moment MA. Let's look at our first equilibrium equation. The sum of forces in the vertical direction is equal to 0. In this case, the only force acting in the vertical direction are the reaction force, RA and the distributed force. So RA is equal to 6 into 3, which is equal to 18. HA is the only force in the horizontal direction, so it must be equal to 0. Next, we can take the sum of moments acting at point A. In calculating the moment by a uniformly distributed force, you can remember that it is equal to a concentrated force located in the middle point of the load. This gives us MA equal to 21, moment at A equal to 21. Now students, to calculate our shear force and bending moment, we will start on the left side of the beam and move towards the right. This is our first free body diagram. The shear force calculation is easy, so we only need to consider the reaction force of 18 kilonewton. The bending moment needs to take into account the reaction force and the reaction moment. At x equals 0, the bending moment is equal to the reaction force of 21 kilonewton meter. As we move to the right, we also need to consider the moment caused by 18 kilonewton reaction force. This gives us the equation for a straight line. We can then move our cut to the right of the concentrated moment. The moment won't affect the shear force, which will remain constant at 18 kilonewton until we reach the distributed force. But it does not cause the bending moment to suddenly drop by 120 kilonewton meter. But it does cause the bending moment to suddenly drop by 120 kilonewton meter. Things gets a little more tricky when we reach the distributed force. We can replace the uniformly distributed force by an equivalent concentrated force with a magnitude of 6 multiplied by the length x over which the force is applied. This force is located at a distance of xy2 from the cut. We can then calculate the shear force and bending moment equations using the normal approach. The bending moment in this section of the beam is defined by a quadratic equation. No loads are acting on the small 1 meter section to the right of the distributed force, so shear force and bending moment in that section will be equal to 0. Although we can't calculate displacement from this diagram, we can use the bending moment information to predict the deformation shape of the beam. Where the bending moment is positive, the beam will be sagging, and where it is negative, it will be hogging. Where the bending moment is 0, the beam will be straight, where with that will give us a deformed shape that looks something like. Now coming into the example now, this is the example in which both the UDL as well as the point load both are acting on the beam, as you can see. So as I have told you everything regarding how the shear force and bending moment is drawn. So here let's solve this question. Here in the question, in the example, it is saying that there is a simply supported beam of 4 meter span. Span means the total length from here to here. This is the total length of the beam, and it is carrying loads. We have to draw the shear force and bending moment diagram for the beam. So as you can see here, that first of all, what we are going to do, first of all we are going to calculate the support reactions at A and B. And since all the loads which are acting are vertical and going downwards, therefore the reaction here at both these support A and B will be in the vertical direction upwards. Means here the reactions will be RA, and here the reaction will be RB. Now how we have to calculate? Again, in the same manner, we are going to first of all use the conditions of equilibrium. We are going to use the condition of equilibrium. According to it, the summation of all the vertical forces should be equal to 0. This will give us the relation. This will give us the relation that RA plus RB. This will give us the relation that RA plus RB is equal to, what are the forces which are going downwards? Now the forces which are going downwards, students, one is the point load of 4 kilonewton and the other is of 2 kilonewton per meter load. So what is the length in which this 2 kilonewton UDL is acting? This we should know in order to convert this UDL into a point load acting at its center. So what will be the value of this length? The whole of the span from here to here is 4 meter. The remaining this portion is 1.5 meter and this portion is 1.5 meter. So this remaining portion, how you can calculate? You can calculate by subtracting. 4 minus, and what are the remaining? 1.5 plus 1.5, that is 1.5 into 2. So this will give you how much? This will give you equal to 1 meter. So 1 meter is the length on which this UDL is acting. So now student, what will be the value of UDL? The value of the UDL will be, it is equal to 2 into 1. That means 2 kilonewton. So this means that the forces which are going downwards in this condition of equilibrium, where summation of vertical forces is equal to 0, here we can write RA plus RB is equal to 2 kilonewton force, that is the UDL, and then after plus there is one more point load, that is 4 kilonewton force. So this is equal to 6. So RA plus RB you are getting equal to 6. This is the first this is the equation between RA and RB obtained by the first condition of equilibrium. Now from the second condition of equilibrium, which says that summation of moment about any point, let's say the point is A, that should also be equal to 0. So using this, what will be the moment if you are considering the clockwise moment? So clockwise moment you will get by these forces which are going downwards, 2 kilonewton and 4 kilonewton. Before that you will also have a anti-clockwise moment, and by this condition we can say that clockwise moment should be equal to anti-clockwise moment. All right, this means that clockwise moment will be from 4 kilonewton force. And what is the distance of 4 kilonewton force from A? The distance of 4 kilonewton force from A is 1.5. All right, then the other force is the UDL force. The value of it is 2 kilonewton. And what is the distance of this 2 kilonewton from A? It is equal to, you will have to now add the value, since we all know that UDL act at its center, means it will be from here to here plus from here to here. This means 1.5 plus half of this whole of the UDL, means half of this 1, means 1.5 plus 0.5, that is equal to 2. So this means that 2 into 2, this means that 2 into 2 will give you the value in this, and in the clockwise direction it will be equal to RB into 4. In this way RA and RB can be calculated. You can see here, students, first of all we have calculated the support reaction. One equation is this equation, this we have got after finding the moment about point A. All right, and after calculating this RB, again by the condition of horizontal force is equal to 0, putting this RB value, we can calculate the RA value. It is coming 3.5 kilonewton. So both RA and RB are calculated. Then after the shear force diagram, for the shear force diagram, we will have to calculate some values. So for that, you can see in the diagram, students, if we start from one of the sides. Now it's a diagram. If we calculate the value of the shear force and bending, you can see the value of the shear force, students, at this particular point. If we start drawing the shear force and bending moment diagram for it at point A, if we start from the left hand side, the first force is RA, and since it is going upwards, we are taking it as positive. We are considering it as positive because when we start from the left hand side, when we take the left hand section, all the forces which are going upwards are taken as positive. So RA is basically your plus 3.5 kilonewton. We have already calculated the reaction at A is 3.5. Then after the reaction force, after this RA, the second is FC, force at point C. So between A to C, you don't have any load. So when we will draw its shear force diagram, students, let's draw the vertical lines from these points. These are the vertical lines from all the critical sections, and draw the baseline for it. The baseline for the shear force, let this be the baseline for the shear force. So what I was telling to you, that at A you have a shear force value equal to this much. All right, at A you have a shear force value equal to 3.5 kilonewton. 3.5. Then after, from A to B, from A to C, you don't have any load. Then at point C, you have a point load equal to 4 kilonewton. So that is going outward, that is going downwards. Downwards is taken as negative when we start from the left hand side. So my plus my 3.5 is already there, and minus 4 will be there. If you subtract if you add minus 4 to this 3.5, you will get 0.5. You will get 0.5. So here the value becomes, at point C, the value becomes equal to 0.5. Here the value becomes equal to minus 0.5. So I am taking it below the baseline because the values below the baseline are taken as negative. Then from C to D, you have a UDL now, and the value of UDL is 2 kilonewton per meter. Now for this, if you reach at point D, you will have the forces. Already you are minus 0.5, and then you have 2 kilonewton per meter force which is acting on 1 meter distance. So it is also going downwards, so it will be taken as negative. So minus 0.5 plus minus 2, it will be equal to minus 2.5. So here from this at point D you will have the value, minus 2.5, minus, it will be minus 2.5. all right, so join this point, join the value at C to the value at D in this way. Now from D to B, you don't have any load, means this will remain constant from here to here. So in this way your bending shear force diagram is drawn, where this represents the negative and this represents the positive side. All right, I hope you have understood this shear force diagram. All right, everything is calculated. At point D you have the value of shear force as minus 2.5 horizontal line. So you can already visualize here that wherever UDL is there, you get an inclined line in shear force diagram. Moving further, students, now we will try to draw its bending moment diagram. Now for drawing the bending moment diagram, let's draw the bending moment diagram. So before drawing the bending moment diagram, first of all, vertical line is drawn in this way. All right, and then the baseline is drawn for bending moment. This is the baseline, for example. And now we will start from the left hand side. We all know that wherever there is support, like at A, and at B you will have bending moment equal to 0. So here at point A and at point B you are going to have bending moment equal to 0. Now we will calculate the bending moment at this point C, extreme point, and at this point D. How we will calculate at point C? See the forces which are on the left hand side of this point C. So there is only one force, and that is the reaction force Ra, whose value is 3.5. You multiply it with the distance of this force Ra from C, which is 1.5. You will get the bending moment at the point C. And since its nature is clockwise, so clockwise forces towards the left of the section is taken as positive. So it will be taken as plus 5.25. So here at point C, you have the value of bending moment at C as 5.25. 5.25. All right. Now students, so from A to C, you have an inclined line like this, which is going upwards. Then after at point D, yes, consider all the forces which are on the left hand side. So you have the forces, but you can also start from the right hand side also. That will be easy to calculate. Why? Because you have lesser forces on the right hand side. You have only the reaction force. All right, and the reaction force value at B is 2.5. So 2.5 and the distance is 1.5 and the distance is 1.5. So 2.5 into 1.5 will give you the value equal to 3.75. So 3.75 is the bending moment at D. So mark the point for 3.75. 3.75. All right. 3.75 is the value here. So here we are marking the 3.75 value. So finally the bending moment diagram which we will get will be in this way. This is the whole bending moment diagram, students. You can see in this bending moment diagram the value at C was 5.25, the value at D was 3.75. So we have joined. Now while joining, one thing you should keep in mind that the inclined line has been used in shear force diagram for joining the shear force value at C and D. While in the case of bending moment for C and D, this particular area, you will use a parabolic curve. To join it. In this way. All right. Then lastly, from B to D, you have a horizontal line in shear force. This means that directly by inclined line you can join. So one thing you should always keep in mind that whenever there is a UDL acting, you will get an inclined line in shear force and a parabolic curve in the bending moment diagram. I hope this numerical is understood to you. Now taking one more example, students. In this example, you can see that there is a simply supported beam AB whose length is 6 meter, and we have to draw the shear force diagram and bending moment diagram for the beam, and we have to also find the position and value of maximum bending moment. So first of all, what we are going to do, we are going to calculate the support reactions. How we will calculate the support reactions? We have already discussed in the previous questions also that we will all have to use the end condition. Summation of vertical forces is equal to 0. Based on it, we will calculate what are the forces. First is the UDL 4 kilonewton per meter, and it is acting on 1.5 meter distance. Then again, another load which is going downwards is the UDL of 2 kilonewton per meter, and on the length on which it is acting is 3 meter. So 2 into 3 we will do here. Then after, we have a point load of 5 kilonewtons. Then add to it the point load of 5 kilonewton, and then you will get this will be equal to the forces which are going upwards, that is the reaction force. So what are the reaction forces? Ra plus Rb. All right, so this is the equation, one of the equation giving the relation between Ra and Rb. Then the second equation will be summation of movement about any point, let for example be A, will be equal to 0. All right, so with this also we can calculate the value of one of the reactions. See, summation of moment about point A should be equal to 0. This means that Rb into its distance from A is equal to 6 meter, the span which is given to you, and this should be equal to the other forces multiplied by their perpendicular distance from point A. That is 4 kilonewton is the UDL, and since it is acting on 1.5 meter, so it will be considered as a point load acting on its center of gravity. And what will be the value of this point load? Its value will be the UDL multiplied by the length on which it is acting. So 4 into 1.5 is the point load, and what is its distance? Its distance from A will be considered as 1.5 divided by 2, plus the second force is 2 kilonewton force. Again it is a UDL and it is acting on 3 meter length. So 2 into 3, and again multiplied by what will be the distance that will be taken. See, distance, we all know that UDL is considered as a point load acting at its center of gravity. So half of 3 will be, half of 3 is 1.5, and the distance from A to D is how much? The distance from A to D will be 6 minus 3, that is 3. So 3 plus 1.5, that is 4.5 will be the distance of center of gravity of this UDL of 2 kilonewton per meter from this point A. Then after, lastly, there is a point load also. The value of this point load is 5 kilonewton. And what will be its distance? Its distance will be its distance is 1.5 from the B it is given to you. So from A it will be equal to 6 minus 1.5. Again it is equal to 4.5. So this is the equation. From this equation we can calculate the value of Rb. All right, and after calculating the value of Rb, we will put the value on the previous equation, this equation, and we can calculate the value of Ra also. We can calculate the value of Ra also. So by this, when you will calculate, students, you will see that the values of Rb is equal to 9 kilonewton and the value of Ra is equal to 8 kilonewton. Support reactions now we have calculated. Now we will draw the shear force diagram. How we will draw the shear force diagram? See, first of all we will draw a vertical line from all the critical points. Then we will draw the baseline for shear force. Then we will start from the left hand. That at point A you have the reaction force. And what is the value of the reaction force? The value of the reaction force just now you have calculated. It is equal to how much? It is equal to 9 kilonewton and 8 kilonewton. 9 kilonewton and 8 kilonewton. So based on it, 9 kilonewton is the Rb and 8 kilonewton is the Ra. So based on it students, first is the 9 kilonewton force which is going upwards. Upwards is taken as, since we all know upwards is taken as positive when we start from the left hand side. So here first of all we will draw a vertical line like this. Its value will be equal to 8. Then after what we will do, students, from A to C you have a UDL now, and its value is how much? Its value is 4 kilonewton per meter. This means that since it is going downwards, so its weightage is basically what? Its weightage is 4 kilonewton. At point C, if you will consider, its weightage will be 4 into 1.5. This means it is equal to 6. So it is going downwards, so it will be considered as negative. So 8 is already there, and at point C, this means that at point C, students, at point C, let me draw this line at point C. you are going to have the value equal to 8 minus 6, that is equal to 2. So join this line from 8 to this point. Now from C to D you don't have any value, you will draw a horizontal line at D. Then after at E, again at E you have a point load of 5 kilonewton, and along with that you will also consider the UDL till that portion. So what is the UDL? UDL is 2 kilonewton and acting on 1.5 distance. This means that 3.5 is the 2 and it is acting on 1.5 distance. All right, it is a 2 kilonewton load and it is acting on a distance of 1.5. So this means that we will take its value 3. So 3 kilonewton is the UDL going downwards, and also you have a point load of 5 kilonewton. So first of all, from here, since it is 3 and already you are plus 2, so plus 2 plus minus 3. So plus 2 minus 3 will give you minus 1 value at C. At C, students, at C you will have a value that is equal to minus 3 plus 2, that is minus 1. So here, from here you will draw a vertical line like this to minus 1. The value here is equal to now 1. Alright. Now from at E you have a point load which is acting and it is equal to 5 kilonewton. So here again you have minus 1 and 5 kilonewton downward force is acting. This means that minus 5 will be added on it. It will become equal to minus 6. So here, from here you will draw a vertical line till point 6. Till the value here will be equal to 6. Then after, from this to point B you have a point load again, and the value of this is 2 kilonewton per meter is the UDL and 1.5 meter is the distance. So again 3. So from 6 to this point B, at point B you have a value equal to minus 6 minus 9 minus 3, that will be equal to minus 9. So finally join it, students, finally join it in this way and you will get your diagram like this. This is the shear force diagram. Alright, so we can see in the calculation also we have calculated the shear force at A, then shear force at C is 2, then between C to D there was no load, it is again equal to 2, then from at point E you have minus 6 kilonewton load, and then at point B you have minus 9 kilonewton load. So in this way we have drawn the shear force diagram. Now calculation has to be done for bending moment also. How we will calculate for bending moment? The bending moment diagram, for bending moment diagram, students, you will have to calculate. We all know first of all that bending moment at A means at supports you have the bending moment equal to 0. Then between the supports you will have to calculate the value of moment at C. So at C, when you will consider the moment at C, coming into the diagram, when you will consider the moment at C, students, so at C, when you will consider the moment, then for that you will use the load 8 kilonewton into its distance, that is 8 into 1.5, that is 12. 12 is going in the clockwise direction, will be considered as positive, but 4 kilonewton per meter is going in the anti-clockwise direction as compared to C, with respect to point C. So 4 kilonewton load and its 4 into 1.5 is the point load, and it will be considered at the center. It will be considered at this point center. Alright, so 4 into 1.5 will give you the value 6 kilonewton, and it is acting at 1.5 divided by 2 means 0.75. So 6 into 0.75. So 8 into 1.5, that is 12. 12 minus 6 into 0.75. This will give you the value at point C, value of bending moment at point C as equal to 7.5. And since the inclined line has been used in the shear force diagram, so here we will use a curve, parabolic curve to join. Here we will use a parabolic curve to join it. Then between C to D you don't have any load. Considering at point D, here at point D, again we will find the bending moment. How we will find? There are two forces. We will multiply those forces with their distance from this point C, so from this point D, and you will see that you are getting bending moment as equal to 10.5 at D. Then again, students, at point E, what we will do now for finding bending moment at point E, we can start from the We can start from this side. It will be easy because you have only a UDL in this portion, and we will consider UDL of this much portion only, which is on the right hand side of this point E. So this is the point load. This is the point load, students. 9 kilonewton. Its distances will be how much? Its distance will be from this 5 kilonewton load. Its distance will be 1.5. So 9 into 1.5. All right, 9 into it will be 1.5. So it is 13.5, and then after you have 13.5, and since it is going in the anti-clockwise direction from the right hand side, it will be taken as positive. So this is 13.5 minus this point load. How much is the point load? 1.5 is the distance into 2. This means that 1.5 into 2, it is 3 kilonewton, and it is acting at 0.75 distance. So this you will minus, and you will get it is equal to 11.25. It is equal to 11.25. Now again it is a UDL. You have an inclined line here. So corresponding to it, you will have to draw a curve here. You will have to draw a curve here, parabolic curve. So in this way, students, your whole of the shear force and bending moment diagram is completed. This is the bending moment diagram. One thing you will have to do is that here you see that the shear force is changing its direction, and I have already told you, whenever shear force changes its direction from positive to negative, at that point you will get the maximum value of bending moment. So this point you will have to find that where it lies. So for that you will have to calculate the value of x. You will have to calculate the value of x distance. Based on it, we can calculate then bending moment at this point M. All right, I hope you have understood how we have calculated this. For that, what you will do, students, for calculation of this x, you will do one thing. This particular two triangles which here I am making, DM2 and 1ME. This 1 and this 2 both are similar to each other, and due to this we can write the ratio of their corresponding sides will be equal. So in that manner we can write that x by 1 is equal to 1.5 minus x divided by 2. By this we have calculated the value of x. So this has given us the distance. At this particular location we have found the value of bending moment, and it is equal to 11.5. all right, so at this point the maximum value of bending moment is 11.5. So this is the solution. I hope you have understood this numerical. Now let's solve some multiple choice questions, students. So the multiple choice questions are, first multiple choice question says that the bending moment in a beam is maximum when, so we all know that bending moment is maximum when shear force is 0. As we have seen in the example also, we have discussed that the shear force, whenever it is 0, whenever it is changing sign from positive to negative, at that point we are getting a maximum bending moment. All right. Then after, the second question says that positive bending moment is known as, so we all know that positive bending moment is known as hogging, and negative bending moment is known as sagging. Coming into MCQ number 3, a simply supported beam of a span x meters carries a UDL of W per unit length over the entire span. The maximum bending moment occurs at, so in case of UDL of W per unit length over the entire span, the maximum bending moment, we all know that it occurs at the center. Then the fourth multiple choice question, the maximum bending moment. So in this diagram, it is very simple. The maximum bending moment will be 30 into 3, that is equal to 90 degree. Coming into the next multiple choice question, the maximum bending moment, the bending moment can be denoted by, we all know it is denoted by capital M. So B is the answer. Coming into MCQ 6, maximum bending moment in a cantilever subjected to UDL over the entire span. So it is very easy. Directly we all know that C is the answer. WL square is the maximum bending moment in a cantilever where there is UDL is acting. Moving further, coming into MCQ number 7, determine the maximum bending moment in the figure. It is very easy. It will be WL by 4. C is the answer. Coming into MCQ number 8, what is the variation in bending moment if the simply supported beam carries a point load at center? We all know the diagram will be here, a triangular one. This is the answer, student. Option A is the correct option. Coming into MCQ number 9, what is the bending moment at end support of a simply supported beam? So at the support, the value of bending moment we all know is equal to 0. Coming into MCQ number 10, what is the shear force, maximum shear force when a cantilever is loaded with UDL throughout? So maximum shear force in this case we all know is equal to W into L. A is the answer. So all multiple choice question I have discussed with you. I hope you have understood everything which I have taught. For your references, you can use any of this reference book. Thank you, students. Thank you and have a nice day.